For this week's video, I would like to share my complete workflow within DxO PhotoLab 9. And there are a couple of reasons for that. Firstly, in my previous video where I was ski touring in the Swiss Alps, I actually edited all the stills from that video with DxO PhotoLab. So if you haven't yet, go and check that out. And then you can come back here to see how to maybe get some similar results within DxO PhotoLab. Secondly, DxO is currently running a very nice Father's Day special from 15th to the 29th of June, where they're offering 20% off to all new customers. There's a promotional code down in the description, FYI. So if you've watched any of my previous videos on DxO PhotoLab, specifically all my weekly edits, you know, or you will know, I do speak highly of PhotoLab. Generally across the board. However, it's not for everyone. So if you want, follow along and I'll share my complete workflow very quickly. And then perhaps you can let me know in the comments if you would like me to dive into anything more specifically in future videos. So let's get into it. Okay, so as you can see on the screen here, I've got DxO PhotoLab open. Now, firstly, one of the nice things about DxO PhotoLab is that there's no import feature. So you don't import into a catalog, you just browse to images on the left-hand side here on your actual hard drive, and then you start editing. So in this case, I'm going to go to my external hard drive. I'm going to go to my photography folder, to my digital negatives, and I've had some of the folders open before. So I'm going to go to my ski touring folder where those images live from my previous video on the channel. And it's in my capture folder, specifically the camera. So this was the Sony RX10-4, which is a bridge camera. Don't tell anyone. Okay, so then I'm going to close down just by double clicking on this little sidebar. You can also just drag it left and right. I'm going to double click it. So as you can see, I've edited the images already, but I'm going to walk you through my workflow. So let's start from the beginning. Okay, so we've just imported the images. Now, the first thing I generally want to do is I want to rename them with my specific naming convention, and then I want to add metadata, so keywords, location, all those basic stuff before you actually properly edit them within the software. So they're organized and they just nicely renamed. So you can see here my images have actually not been renamed. So all I'm going to do is you can either click on the first one, scroll down, shift click and it will select all, or if you don't have any selected, you can just go Command A, select all, and you just right click on one image and you go to rename selected images. That brings up a little dialog. Now here you can type in whatever you want to rename, or you can make use of placeholders. So you have counters, so sequences. You can just drag it in. So and then you can take that out, and then you can select from a bunch of other metadata. So shot date. So you can drag in. So if you want to create one, just drag in the year, month, day, and then you can maybe add an underscore, shoot name, whatever you want to call your specific outing or shoot, and then you can actually see the previous file name on the bottom here and the new file name below that. And then once you've done that, you click rename 41 images, but obviously you don't want to do this every time you want to rename images. So you can also create a preset, which I've actually done. So let's just quickly remove all this, and under presets, if you click on that, you can see here I've got a default preset called CM, which is Cornelius Miller default renaming. Click on that, and here you can see my naming convention. So I like my initials, then the shot date, year, month, day, and then I have underscore and then country code. In this case, this was in Switzerland, so it's CH, and then the name of the shoot, the location, or whatever makes sense in your case, another underscore and a sequence. And you can see here, this was the original file name and the new file name. And the sequence is a three number sequence. So we are gonna rename all 41 images, and voila, all images are renamed. So let's double check that quickly. Yeah, looks good. So then we select all images again, and now I'm not going to add all metadata just for the sake of time, but I'll show you guys how I make a start. Oh, excuse me. So on the right hand side here, you can see a lot of the exit data from the images from the camera, and you come towards the bottom, you can see you can add your IPTC contact, so your name, your create a job title, so you can say photographer, wannabe photographer, address if you want. So these are things that are going to be burned into the image when you export. And because you've selected all, you can actually, it's applied to all images. What I generally like to do is my name, job title, so photographer, and then with the content, I'll add the headline, I'll add the shoot date, not the shoot date, sorry, the name of the shoot. So it's generally what the folder is named, and maybe a short description, and then location and country, and you can also add the ISO country code again. So it's not only in the name, then it's also in the metadata. So that's the, I mean, if you fill it in, so it's going to be CH, location, it's going to be Swiss Alps, so you can get as specific as you want, and you just press enter, and that's applied. And then moving towards the bottom, you can add some keywords. You can see some of my keywords down here. You can either just select them, and it will automatically add them to the image, or if you want to create new ones, you can just type them into here. So let's say snow-capped mountains, enter, or return, depending on your preference. And now it's automatically added to all the images. So okay, so now we've renamed the images, we've added our metadata. Finally, we can actually edit them. So let's just do a small selection here. So if you go through the images, currently in the library or in the photo library, I like it set up like this, just thumbnails, but if you want, you can also drag this little bar at the top down, and you can actually preview the images as you scroll through them. But I like to have them like that here, and then if I double click on one, we will go into the Customise module, where I actually have a film strip on the bottom. Generally, if I do want to, this is not a lot of images, but if I want to cycle through them and make a selection, like in this case, what I will do is just drag this down to about there, so I can just have a little bit of a bigger preview. Now, let's say we want to edit images. So currently some of them are rated 1 star. And let's say for this sake, we want to make a small selection. So I'll just use 2 stars in this case. So let's use the first image here. It's quite a nice one of the snow-capped mountain in the distance. So we'll give that 2 stars just by hitting 2. I'll cycle them, it's not bad. So this is more your typical farmer's hat, high up in the Alps as you move it through in winter. Oh, not bad. Let's get a good bit of variety here. Let's have that one, another alpine hat. Just scrolling through them here. And so this was edited black and white, we'll do that mostly. And this is quite a nice one actually, so let's do that in 2 stars. Okay, so then I'll go back up and I will filter them. So I'll filter for 2 stars, and we've got these 3 images. Then all I do is I double click on one, and that opens up the Customise module. Now there are a lot of things here, but all I want to do in this video, like I mentioned, is show you guys my workflow, and then if there is anything that you would like to know more of or about, just drop a comment down below, and I'll be sure to try and make a video about it. So here you can actually see this. So these images have been edited. So let's start from scratch. So actually all I'm going to do is create a virtual copy. Let me just create virtual copies of all 3 actually. So I'll select all 3. Let me say create virtual copy. Now the nice thing is it'll automatically apply the rating, so it stays inside our selection or our filtered selection, and it will number them. So you have the one which is the virtual copy. Just click off them. Sorry, I'm trying to speak fast because I know my videos sometimes go a bit long when it comes to editing. Where are we now? Not doing too badly. Okay, so here we're going to go top right, we're going to reset. Now, the nice thing, let me just reset all of them. Reset. Big difference. Reset. Okay. So on this image specifically, the nice thing about DxO when you import images or open images up in DxO, I should say rather, because you don't import them, is it automatically applies a default, it's not a preset, it's your default settings or default, so it's not an edit, whatever you want to call it. So it applies lens correction, some basic shadow highlight recovery, which I'll show you now. And what happens for me, or what I find when I edit in DxO, is I actually have to do much less to my images. Sometimes I feel like am I really only doing this much? Because the image is already so far towards what it needs to be in my mind. Because if you watch some of my weekly edits, I always like to envision what I want the finished image to look like before I start editing, because that gives me direction, something to point at or to work towards without aimlessly pulling slides back and forth. So in DxO, if you come to the top here and you click on compare, you'll see that's actually the original raw. And if I let go, that's sort of DxO's default import corrections, if you will. So now in my mind, these are landscape images of snow-capped mountains. Now I don't want to do anything crazy here. I just wanted to bring out what was there. Now looking at this image a little bit cold, and also probably want to apply a little bit of a crop here and create a little bit of extra contrast. So let's do that, shall we? Now let's do the crop first. So you can hit R like you do in Lightroom to bring up the crop tool, or at the top here you can just click on crop, and you can just bring that. I'm going to bring that down a little bit, like that. This highlight is drawing a little bit of the eye, so I might actually bring that a bit more over to there, and then move that like that. Maybe that peak up onto the upper right third. A bit more of a heavier-handed crop than I did before, but let's do that. Then we're going to hit enter, or you can just click on close. Okay, so now I'm already liking this crop with this ridge of the mountain leading the eye up to the peak and then to the rest of the image. And then I'm a pretty simple guy when it comes to editing my images. I don't like to modify my editing programs into custom workspaces and stuff, because I find that every time, so sometimes when there's an update or you move to another program, you spend days or so much time adapting it again or modifying it, that it's just, for me, it's just inefficient. So I adapt to the program. So I work through like Lightroom top on the right, on the develop panel, develop module top to bottom, and the same with DxO. And because I have envisioned what I want the image to look like, I always have my direction. I don't get lost with any tools I don't know or don't need. Okay, so let's edit. So in DxO, the top in the light module, so you got light, you got color, you got detail, you got perspective or geometry, you got special effects, and then you have your masking. So in the light panel here, what I want to do is actually make use of DxO's smart lighting feature, which is basically just increasing the dynamic range, so to speak, of the image. So you can see if I drag that to the right, opens up the shadows and the highlights, brings them a little bit closer together. Maybe not quite the dynamic range, just the perceived dynamic range. So about there, 30 looks good. And note I haven't touched the exposure actually. So I'm going down, selective tone, highlights, midtones. Sometimes I just switch that on and off just to see what it looks like. Yeah, so that's pretty good. Clear View Plus is a bit like dehaze. So if we switch that off, you can see the image is a little bit more hazy. Switch that on. And let me drag this up quite a bit, then you can see that dehaze effect come in. So I'm just going to do Command Z. So it's automatically applied at 10. For me, that's fine. Contrast is fine. I tend to use the tone curve, so I'll switch that on and I'll grab the tone picker. And here, if we quickly switch the highlight and shadow warnings on, top left here, I just want to bring the shadow areas just a little bit down like that, and then on the highlight areas here, a little bit up. I'll drag it up a bit too far so you can see the highlights start to clip under that snowy ridge line there. So I'm just going to bring it back down a tad and just put it back. And now if we switch the tone curve off and on, you can see it's just added that nice little bit of contrast. And overall, for me, that image is pretty much finished, save for the cool tone. I just want to warm it up a little bit. And if we go down still, DxO has already taken care of my vignetting. Go into the color module, and here we have the white balance. So what I'm going to do here, I'm actually going to use my keypad, because DxO's sliders are a little bit finicky and you can easily drag them too far. So currently it's on 4766. I know daylight's about 5 Kelvin. In this case, I'm probably going to warm it up about 4950. I'll see how that looks. So that's nice and warm, but we have a little bit of a green cast now. So currently we are quite a bit towards green in the tint. So I'm going to probably do -22. Yeah, that actually looks nice. And then color rendering, I tend to leave alone. Don't touch that. I'm not going to go into film pack right now. LUTs, you can, it's like a, yeah, you know what a LUT is, almost like a color cast or filter. Switch that on, you can go to standard, and it will go to, you can just cycle through them, and then you can change the intensity, but it's not purpose for this edit. You can do some split toning. I've gone into that in some of my more detailed dives into DxO. I'm not going to go into that now. And then HSL, you can adjust the individual colors or the global. If you select the white circle, you can adjust the global saturation, vibrancy, etc. But again, color balance and saturation for me in this image is perfectly fine. So I'm going to leave that alone. And this is film scan optimization, soft proofing. No, thank you. Not for this edit. Okay, so then under detail, I will just toggle on DeepPRIME 3. Now, if you zoom into 100%, you're not going to see a difference here. What you have to do, zoom out, you actually have to come up here to the loop tool. You click on that. Normally it's this big, and that gives you the preview of the applied noise reduction. And then if you click on this little white square, it makes it a little bit bigger. You can see the cross on top of the mountain there. And yeah, that's it. So now you can see the preview. Let me just toggle that off. Excuse me, had a little bit of a snack earlier. Lens softness correction is a very cool aspect of DxO PhotoLab. Let me show you that quickly. So here we have the zoomed into 100%, mountain peak, nice definition, nice texture, nice detail, sharpness. And if we toggle lens sharpness optimization off, so keep a look here, keep a look on, keep watching, keep a look, you know what I mean. Toggle it off. You see the amazing difference DxO's library of lens and camera body profiles do to optimize image sharpness. So keep a watch there again, I'll switch it on. Absolutely amazing. It's one of my favorite things. Sometimes I just sit and toggle it on and off for like, I don't know, when you like just some pleasure. Just watch it, sharpen the image, but not having to do anything. Okay, moving on. So chromatic aberration, fine. You can do retouching if you want to remove any blemishes. So yeah, in this case, again, not landscape image. I want to leave the nature pretty much as is. We're not doing any perspective correction. Just some lens distortion that was corrected there, again, automatically. I don't have to do anything. So most of my edit is actually just talking. You can see how little I'm actually doing to the image. And the effects, you can do like a miniature effect, filters, add grain. Grain I sometimes add, but in this case I don't think that necessary. I just see my highlight warnings are still on. Switch them off. And what I do here, sometimes I'll just come down here and I'll toggle on frame. Now that just adds a nice little white frame around the image and almost just allows your eyes to reset. So it just compares all the colors in the image to the pure white on the edges of the frame. And this sort of also, you can sort of eyeball the white balance and the colors and the contrast in the image. a little bit better, which is something I picked up from a lot of different colleagues over the years. And then if I'm happy with that, I'll just toggle that off. And then lastly, under masking, what I want to do here, you can see the sky is a little bit washed out. Now, there are many different ways of doing masking in DxO currently. Just toggle it on. Is AI masking, obviously you can do select sky, blah, blah, blah. You can do the traditional control point, which is like a big circle that selects the color underneath the point. So we'll just go back, undo. There's the control line, which we'll be using now. There is your graduated filter, which most of you probably know. You got some luminosity masking, and you get a U mask and a brush as well. So in this case, I mean, we can do AI select sky, we can do U mask, we can do graduated filter, which is not as targeted. The nice thing about DxO is they've got a control line, which is basically a linear version of the control point. So if you select that, looks like the graduated filter. So you pull that down, like that. We'll just move it down maybe a little bit more. And then you have this color picker where you can actually select the color you want it to focus on or to select. So obviously I want the sky, so that's blue. And you can see that it bleeds into the mountain a little bit. Then all I do is I come over here and I play around with Chroma and Luma. Now, if you take it to the left, it's going to select more. Take it to the right, you can see it's starting to leave that mountain peak alone a little bit. So, but you also don't want to go too far where the transition gets too pronounced. So probably about there. And in terms of Luma, again, if you take it to the left, it's going to select more. Take it to the right, it's going to get more restrictive. So, and it's fine for me if it bleeds in just a little bit. It helps with the transitions blending into each other, and it doesn't look too unnatural. So I'll probably leave it about there. And then as soon as we make an adjustment, it will the mask will disappear. You can also toggle it on and off. Dial that back a tad. So I know I want to make the sky more blue, so then actually sometimes what I do is I just drag the white balance a bit more to the left, and you can see immediately a massive difference. And that's pretty much all I want to do. I mean, if I want, I can also brighten it a tad, bring up the midtones. And again, with DxO, you don't need to do major differences. So just like that. And if we toggle that, so we can close that, and we can toggle that off, speak properly, and on. And that is pretty much that for this image. So let's move on to the next one. So as you can see, very little to be done with the images, and a very basic workflow from my part. So that's my complete workflow: renaming, adding metadata, and then the actual edit. So yeah, I think that's pretty much that. If you want, I'm quickly going to edit 2 more images without speaking too much. So if you want to stick around for that, please do. Okay, so now we have this image of the little mountain refuge, mountain hut. So again, all I'm going to do, okay, what I want to do here, I'm going to think what I want to do. So I want to definitely crop and rotate the image a bit, and then I want to warm it up, and then I want to enhance the sunlight that's coming in from the top right here. And again, I mean, DxO, if you look at compare, that's the original rule, and that's what DxO has done automatically. So not much for me to do. So let's just go back to the light module. I'm going to crop, so I'm going to hit R, and I'm going to bring this in just a tad, and I'm going to just hover on just outside the crop interface, and I'm going to rotate just like that. And I'm going to leave this hut a little bit on the left hand side because it's also going into the frame, so it leads the eye left to right. I'm going to hit enter, and now I'm probably want to, so I'm going to toggle on exposure. I'm just going to do 1 or 2 bumps. I'm going to increase the smart lighting ever so slightly. Selective tone, I really find myself having to do something here. I'm just going to see the highlights quickly, not too worried about the shadows. And I'm going to grab the tone curve, and I'm going to bring the shadows down slightly, and the highlights, it's already pretty much on the border. And that's that's that. Moving on, under color, again, I'm going to warm up this image a tad. So I'll look where it is. So it's at 4.9. To my eye, it looks a little bit cool. So I'm probably going to take it up about 200 to 5.1. I like that warmth, but again, for some reason, there's a bit of a green tint. So -21, I'm going to go to about probably -17 rather. Maybe -15. Yeah, that looks good. Like I mentioned, color rendering, I'll leave alone. I'm not going to do any LUTs. I'm not going to adjust any individual colors. Yeah, I think that's pretty much that. Detail, noise reduction, just toggle on DeepPRIME by default. If we want, we can have a quick squiz at what that's doing. And then you can just click and hold if you want to do the before and after. Looks good. That goes away. Lens correction, I have to, sorry, I can't not do it. So, off. Just look along the side here of this building. On. Amazing. My highlight warning is still on. Yeah, that's good. No perspective correction. And the effects, again, like I mentioned, I'm just going to do a quick frame just to judge colors. Yeah, looks okay. And I'm going to go into masking because there's a couple of things I want to do here. One main thing, actually. So here I'm actually going to make use of the good old control point. I'm going to plop it on there. I'm going to drag it out to about there. Make it quite big because I want to enhance that sunlight streaming in here. So pretty much like that. And now, as you can see with the mask, it's picking up the color from the sky. So for it to be more all-inclusive, like almost like a radial filter in Lightroom, you can take the Chroma all the way to the left as well as the Luma. So now it's selecting everything, and you can see how nicely that sort of just softly radiates out towards the edges. So now all I want to do is increase the midtones ever so slightly, as well as expose it just a tad, shadows, highlights, and what was the other thing that I wanted to do? The warmth. I want to add a bit of warmth there, quite a bit of warmth. Midtones again, shadows a bit more, blacks, soften them ever so slightly. And I think that is pretty much, that's pretty much that. Maybe the midtones a little bit more. And if we toggle that on and off, see the difference that made. So before, after. So we've got a nice, beautiful mountain scene, had nicely warm morning sun temperature, and by adding that control point or that mask, we've just enhanced that sunlight streaming in, top right. And that's that. Very quick edit. Before, after. Awesome. I think I'm going to leave the last one. It's already gone on for quite a bit. So yeah, that's my workflow in DxO. Any questions, drop them in the comments. Anything you want me to dive deeper into, you know what I mean. Let me know as well. Hope that was useful. And again, don't forget about the Father's Day promotion. Promo code down in the description, 20% off for all new customers. Awesome, guys. Catch you in the next one.